I was just watching Little Man earlier with the Wayans brothers. Bro, that movie's classic. That movie's funny as hell. Yeah, bro, they got it on YouTube for free. So you might want to tune in. Bro, that movie is hilarious. He said, hell yeah. He said, have you seen White Chicks with the Wayans? But of course, bro. I think everybody's seen that. If you haven't seen that movie, I don't even think you're a real person if you haven't seen that movie. The Wayans brothers got classics. He said, that's my childhood facts. They got scary movies, scary. They got Don't Be a Menace. And they even had a show. They had a Wayne's Brothers show. I don't know if you know about that. It was in the 90s. He said, yep, I know. I know about it. But yeah, I'm watching Little Man again right now. I got it on mute because I'm on live right now, but I'm watching it on mute. But yeah, topic that I was thinking about was just how these internet communities affect people. Like, I get that a lot of this stuff might be true, but a lot of people just got too far gone and caught up in this stuff to the point where that's all they want to talk about. Like, I get it that women are like this. I get, like, certain things are this way. But people start to make a whole identity with that stuff. And it's like, nobody wants you to be free. This is why I'm glad I grew up without social media like that. I used to think it was a bad thing that I didn't have, like, the latest iPhones and this and that. I had to go without a phone and all of that for a long period of time. But now I'm kind of glad when I look back because it made me be able to just think for myself. Like, so many people have just lost themselves with this online shit. He said, man, I stay playing old music from 2000s. I stay watching movies from the early 2000s. True. And I ain't gonna lie, I've been hearing certain stuff from like today's generation. Some of it was decent. I ain't gonna lie. Like I know people overuse them drill beats and all of that, but some people who just do it authentically, some of it is fair. I ain't gonna lie. I heard this dude, he infused like some upbeat tempo music with like drill. Like when it's organic and they're doing it strictly off of like being authentic, it comes off like fair. He said back in the days we had social media. Back then everything was up close and personal. Yeah, it was good. He said, "What's up, Chad?" But yeah, I'm just venting, so I'm just speaking on so many topics right now. I might be all over the place, but it's just a vent session. But yeah, he said back in the days everything was up close and personal. Yeah, now I'm kind of glad that I didn't have a phone like that growing up. I used to be in class bored as hell. Everybody had the newest iPhone. But that was just giving me time to think for myself without social media and shit. Yeah, it was boring at the time to just sit there, but it just gave me a more clear mind about everything. And kids nowadays are just born with that technology right in their hand. And you already see the type of stuff promoted on social media. Like, you see all these words and all the clout, and kids are watching that stuff. It's crazy. Said, hell yeah, missed out a lot because I didn't have the phone to see what was going on. I had to hear it from somewhere. But all the time, I was in my head thinking, same with me. It was a lot of stuff that I wasn't even aware about back then. Like, I missed out on a lot of that stuff that was trending, that was popping. I missed out on so much stuff. But I wasn't even really missing out when you think about it. And you was able to have a clearer mind. You was able to think for yourself. I'm so glad I didn't know about these online communities back then. I was able to just grow up with my own thinking. Nowadays, you got even young kids in these online communities and shit, ruining their mental health. And people don't know the effects of that shit. Like, that shit can scar you for life. Like, I'm glad to just be a free thinker. He said I was in them classes bored as hell when I was out. I was free since my head was clear, no stress, not stress from school. Yeah, I used to be in class with a headache, just with my head down, no type of phone. And if I did have a phone, it was like a broken Android or something with no internet connection, so I could just only listen to music. Or I had like an MP3 player. He said I never went to concert growing up. I may remember one concert, never went. Saw a Scream tour of old artists back in the day. I think I went to like a concert back in the day as when I was like a kid. That was the only time somebody took me. He said you had an MP3 player. That's tough. Hope no one saw that. Facts. But it's crazy because nowadays niggas will be talking about, oh, I miss these days. I miss MP3 players. But them is the same niggas that would have clowned me if they see me with an MP3 player in that time. Dude. These niggas be fake as hell. Talking about, oh, nostalgia. I miss the times. Yeah, you're telling me that you missed the times, all right. But when I had an MP3 player in that bitch, niggas was looking at me crazy. Now niggas will be wishing for that time back. Oh, I miss MP3 players. If you didn't have an iPhone back then in school, you had to have whatever phone you had. If it was an Android, if it was anything other than an iPhone, you had to have it, or you was gonna get clowned. He said, "Are you sure you had an MP3 player or an iPod? Cause that is crazy." This was like 2015, I think 2014. I was vibing with my MP3 player though. Like the whole process of everything was just different. You had to actually get a computer and download that shit. He said I'm in play CeeLo Green. Yeah, it's like everything that was looked at as corny back then, people are praising it now. If you was making music back then, if you was rapping, people was looking at you crazy. People was looking at you as a joke. Oh, you're rapping, you're making music, laughing and shit. Cause I was that person. I was doing that. This was back then. I was already doing this shit. I was already on YouTube. Everybody was laughing. It was a joke to people. Now you look at everybody nowadays. Everybody's a YouTuber now. Everybody's a rapper now. He said I had a crappy Android. When you look back at it, those days were the best. Yeah, I even had a button phone. That was way back then. I don't know if y'all remember them button phones. I had one of them phones. I had a like Android. He said everyone is praising them days, but they was taking it for granted, being ungrateful, trying to be bougie. Facts. He says I sure do. Yeah, they'll all praise it now, of course. Oh, I missed that time. I remember back then I found the Galaxy S5. That was probably like the most upgraded phone I had back in them days. But I had to find it. I found that shit outside and just finessed it. He said that's what's up. Like I never any of this. He said miss those days. Only the music and food that people hell knew. It was wicked back then. It's a little better now since you're grown up. People can't mess with you and it's antisocial. Yeah, I agree. I miss the music from that time, the food, the movies, the entertainment. He said those days I went through the worst. It's just now I can deal with it and have more understanding. Yup. My main issue from back then was just dealing with school. I mean, middle school wasn't that bad. Elementary, middle school, all of that wasn't even that bad. Once you stepped in that high school, it was over. One thing I miss about school is the field trips. Field trips used to be lit. You said school was the main part. Yeah, school was the main part for me too. It just depressed me and all type of shit. Cause I was still consciously aware at that time. Like I was consciously aware at the time, but I wasn't aware about these online communities and all that. And I'm glad to, cause who know how far that shit would have took you watching that type of stuff at a young age. The main things that I used to watch on YouTube back in the day, cause I barely could even get on the internet and all that. Had to go to the library and all type of shit. But I used to watch videos like football highlights. I used to watch them scary movie videos like Freddy versus Jason or Michael Myers versus Jason. He said same here. Yeah, it was just better to have your own understanding to this stuff. Because for some people, the only way that they woke up to this was watching somebody. They watched somebody on the internet and then just build attachments with these people. Like I was aware about this world and all of that, but it was just from my own understanding. I ain't really had people I was watching like telling me, "Oh, this is like this. This is why this is this."